I can hear you, sir, loud and clear.
So
I can.
I just think we don't need to waste time because we don't have a lot of time. I understand that paper 3 is wide. So we just start off so that others can find us on course. And I request Anastasia, if you can hear me, just unmute and pray for us so that we can start. Or I don't know who else can hear me. We need someone to pray for us so that we can start our today's lesson. I don't know whether okay. A volunteer to pray for us so that we can start.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we come before you. We honor you and appreciate you. As we're going to start our lesson, we pray that you may guide us, you may walk with us until the end. May we understand. Bless our teachers and bless us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Mr. Paul, over to you to do the introduction so that we can start.
Thank you, Mr. Motiso, and good evening to our dear students. I'm excited that you are already in the class, and I am hoping that network will be fair to us so that we can have a very fruitful lesson. So today we are having our senior examiner, Mr. Maingi, who is a very senior examiner of paper 3. We will be in the lesson with him, but because we need quality, it will be a lesson with 2 teachers, although he will start and then maybe or maybe not, I'll join him in due course, because we really need to get to know how to deal with paper 3, which is the elephant in the room. So we are going to start with question 2 and question 3. And then after that, we will go back to question 1. We've started with question 2 and 3 because that is the main area where we need to work on. And then question 3, we will still get the best out of it. So without any much delay, I want to introduce to you Mr. Maingi, and so that he can take off and lead us through the first part of the lesson. Bwana Maingi, if you can hear me, karibu sana.
Thank you, Bwana Paul. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you so much, Paul and Bwana Motiso. Our students, good evening. Welcome to this session. Today, our focus will be English paper 3. And I will go straight to business of what is expected of us. I'm sure we have been doing a lot of revision with our teachers in school. And all we are doing here today is just to cement what our teachers have been taking us through and a reminder of what is expected of us by the end of the year when we sit our exam. Allow me share my screen so that you can see what it is we will be dealing with today. Question 2 and question 3. We all know we are expected to write an essay. And as you can see, NEC gives a lot of priority to this form of writing. Out of 60 marks, 40 marks come from your ability to express yourself in an essay. And this is majorly borrowed from question 2, which is a compulsory set text. Question 3, which has 3A, short story, 3B, a play, and 3C, a novel. Why set books? The expectations are when you're reading these set books, we will be asked. For instance, you may wonder, why do we teach these set books? One of the objectives of teaching English in high school is to inculcate morals among our learners, so that once we exit high school, and even as we're in school, we'll find ourselves in a social or in social places, in a society where they have certain values that you are supposed to exhibit, where there are certain vices that are supposed to be abhorred or condemned, and we gather these from the set books. For instance, the Samaritan generally is about leadership. We have evidence of poor leadership in various categories of leadership. Political-wise, we see Maracas being run down by the executive led by Mayor Morsi. Legislature, where we have Honorable Ted, Honorable Seymour. We have Ramdai also in the legislature. Even in the police force, we see Inspector Bembe not running the police force the way we would expect. When you go to judiciary, we have problem with that is clearly seen through the principal judge, that is Justizia Jaden. But on the flip side, we also see there are certain values that are being advocated in the set text. Despite these challenges, there are people who can stand up to be counted and challenge these powers that be and demand for good governance. And this is where we see Nicole coming in. So when you look at that text overall, there is every reason to compare what is happening in the society and what the text is advocating for, or what is showcasing. That is why when you're reading these set texts, the examiner will be interested in, did you read the set text? Yes. What relevant message or messages did this text carry? And in particular for a young person like you who is 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old onwards, what values did you see being advocated here? What vices does the writer condemn? And for values, you will notice that they will always be paid. At the end of the day, a character who supports what is good for the society, they will be rewarded. There will be victory at the end. How about vices? Those that are committing acts that demands or that are supposed to be condemned. They will be punished. If they're not punished, you will notice that somebody who is involved in the wrongdoing may create an inconvenience for others. That is why now you'll be told, if you commit a wrong, if you're a police officer, you're asking for bribes, are you really subjecting that person you're asking bribe from to the right justice? If somebody is in the wrong, why ask for a bribe? Why can't you take them to the justice system where we find Ian Jaden? If they're innocent, why are you asking bribe from them? Because at the end of the day, you see them suffering. This money is Bembe collects. He goes and builds his house. He builds a very exquisite golf club. But at the end of the day, does it pay? It doesn't. So as you read this text, we ask you, how do you think these values or these vices will be angled for KCSE? And that is why we are here this evening to see, when you're reading the Samaritan, how will these vices, how can we see police force doing wrong things and subjecting citizens to suffering? If, for instance, we just pick Bembe. What is it that is expected of the candidate? Make the text the test. It is a syllabus. There is no other syllabus for question number 2 when you're having the Samaritan. Everything will be asked. All the illustrations will be picked from that text. That is why it is necessary you read it over and over. When you read it over and over, you're able to get what we refer to as textual exactness. Remember, as our teachers have been guiding us in school, if you are picking an issue about, for instance, I take Morsi, and Morsi has proven to be an obstacle to good leadership. He does not want to be exposed. Where can we see him contributing to an injustice? For instance, when he refuses or when he fails to launch the Samaritan app, do you remember the events around there? Can you remember the information that comes before? What makes him develop interest in this Samaritan app? That is what we'll ask for the background. When you pick it, do you see evidence of selfishness in him? Do you notice abuse of power when he insists, or do you see evidence of bad leadership in that? Can you remember all the events that are there? So that when we were to test a question on Mosi, and that is the episode you're focusing on, can you remember all the details so that we ask for textual exactness? Remember, if you remember scanty details, yet you have the point, in marking, the examiner may consider that the examiner will consider that as mere mention.
Mr. Mutiso, kindly help mute Abby so that we can continue.
It's done.
Okay, thank you. If you just make a reference to that episode and you don't have the details, the person marking your work may consider that, yeah, you have the idea, but it is not strongly brought out. You will be awarded possibly a thin, which means 1 out of the possible 3 marks available. If you can remember the details and you're able to link them to the expected value or virtue or vice, then maybe the examiner can move you up to 2 out of 3, which is a fair. But if you remember all the details and you're able to link or echo the question accordingly, highly likely you'll get all the 3 marks that the examiner expects of you. Now, if we go to the Samaritan itself, because time is not on our side and we have been reading in school, what issues does this text focus on? Generally, you notice there is a lot of bad governance. All the main characters advance the issue of abuse of power. And we all know these leaders. We'll see them one by one in a short while. There is also another issue the writer focuses on, and this one picks the main character, the protagonist, in this case, Nicole, teacher Nicole. Remember, teacher Nicole, she is the teacher of ethics and innovation. So besides standing for what is right, she's also using her position as a teacher to support young people to be innovative and be problem solvers. That is why in the next thing you'll see, what is the role of young people? Can we just watch and say there's nothing we can do? Alvita, Montano, and their teacher, Nicole, contribute greatly to the success of bringing change and positive change in Maracas municipality. Again, we have also been taken through technology. Remember, Samaritan app is in an innovation that has won in the National Innovation Fair. And it is bringing positive changes from the environment to governance to everything, name it. Nicole tries to highlight these issues when they're having a disagreement with, when she's being confronted by Inspector Bembe. And she's trying to say, or trying to make Bembe understand there are positive things this Samaritan app is bringing. But for the leaders, they say political opposition. They don't see anything good. So technology has a big role or has a major role to play in this text. The best way we normally see the examiner set questions or test candidates from what they have read. They are the issues, yes. But these issues that are there in the society, that are illustrated in the set text, they are brought out through certain characters. A lot of times, they base a certain issue based on a certain character. There is a reason why this character mainly features in this text. From them, what role does this character play in the advancement of the virtue or in the advancement of the vice we are referring to? And this is the best approach when I'm advising students when they're revising. Pick an individual. They may be having a lot of commonness with others, but can you write an essay based on that character so that when you pick, for instance, Mosi is the overall leader. in many of the episodes or instances we interact with him, are there underlying issues Morsi is developing? Remember, he's the overall leader. We normally say the buck stops with the leader at the end of the day. Can we blame him for the poor governance that is there? When he's making confessions about his leaders to Teacher Nicole, we realize Morsi knows so much that is happening. But he comes out as somebody who is inept, who is just overseeing poor leadership and does nothing. He has made a confession to Nicole that he's involved in corruption. He has made a confession to his fellow leaders, Seymour, Ramdai. Remember this first meeting here when he asked for all the leaders to come. He admits that he's been allowing or he's been paying monies he should not be paying for meetings that he should not have been paying. So he has admitted to many things. The confessions he makes, it's very clear he's aware of what is happening in his municipality, but he's not ready. We have seen him actively interfere with the activities of the municipal chambers. When the members have met to go and discuss the motion of no confidence with him that is meant to remove him out of power, he actively organizes for violence with the help of his crony, Inspector Bembe. We have seen him go and try blackmail Nicole, knowing we have even seen him bribe Nicole so that anything that is negative can be removed. You remember him giving Nicole a blank check, asking for whatever money you want. He is ready even to buy this Samaritan app. We saw him bribe Nicole with a plum position at the end of the text. So as an overall leader, what can we say about him? Do you think he's responsible for all the poor governance that is happening and is not taking action? If you pick Bembe, this one is a police officer. He's supposed to maintain law and order. He's supposed to ensure that the justice system is served accordingly from his end before he gets to the courts. But what does Bembe do? If you pick him, are there episodes you'll find that we should blame him for the collapse of law and order? He's involved in bribery. He has converted the municipal police into a personal outfit, so it is no longer serving the interests of the community society. We have seen him collect money and build a golf club in his house on a public land. Even though he didn't know, he later comes to know. When he knows, instead of vacating that piece of land, despite there being pressure from this group of lawyers that are pushing that the land should be restored back to the university, he's agreeing with his crony Morsi that they can relocate the university. We have seen him come up with false allegations against Teacher Nicole. That is all abuse of power. We have seen him run a gang that is terrorizing and causing chaos in town, ghetto boys. So among all these, when he's committing these crimes, what is the moral lesson? Either he's made to pay at the end of the day because crime does not pay. Or from these episodes, can you identify how citizens are suffering because of his abuse of power? Look at how he molests and assaults Teacher Nicole when he's coming up with these allegations. Look at the way he's collecting bribes. If he's collecting bribes from innocent people, what does that tell you? If he's collecting bribes from the guilty, that tells you these people remain in the society. He becomes the police and the judge at the same time. Look at the way he runs the Ghetto Boys gang. Look at the chaos that he's planning with his friend Morsi. The kind of weapons they plan to use to create that violence. Remember when Seymour and Ramdai are having a meeting after the motion of no confidence is foiled, they are lamenting the size of stones that were being thrown at them, how they missed them. That is a leader. Police. On Ramday, if you're to focus on him alone, he doesn't come majorly except from the confessions that Morsi makes to Nicole. But we see he is responsible for the poor roads. Roads are impassable. Even we're made to understand tractors can get stuck in there. When you go to the land, we're told the many fake title deeds that are there. Look at the contracts that are being offered.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
I can see Wangui ameinua mkono, maybe she can ask.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, teacher, but I was having a network problem and I didn't get to hear how you.
Come again? Looks like we've lost her again, eh?
Yeah, she seems to be having network challenges. Huh?
Okay.
You will connect, yeah.
Or if she finds herself behind, you can always reach her later.
Yeah, you can share your screen fully. You just
Yes.
okay.
Ocha was saying
Uh-huh.
I was having network problems and I didn't get to hear you express how Bembe is about Bembe and bribing. Yeah.
For that section of bribery, remember what you're told in the text, how he has converted the police, the municipal police, into a personal outfit that collects bribes for him. So they are not serving the interests of the public, they are serving personal interests.
Thank
Am
you.
I okay there?
Yes.
So, all these mentions are making, these are episodes. That is why I like when our teacher Paul said, let's have a pen and a paper so that you can capture these episodes. On your own, you can read and pick the details. I'm only making highlights. Honorable Ramday, we've said that when you look at the quality of roads we have there, they are poor. The citizens cannot access good roads because of the poor workmanship that Ramday does. There is corruption in the Ministry of Lands. Look at the fake title deeds that he has there, and you can feel whatever he does is so wrong that even Morsi has a very contemptuous attitude towards him. He doesn't care how people suffer. When it comes to nepotism, look at his office. He's a deputy mayor. Contracts are all awarded to his relatives, and all his relatives have converted the official residence. It's a personal residence. When you read those episodes, you will pick Ramday and how he has messed the municipality. Unfortunate for his payments, the only thing that the writer says is he's arrested at the end of the text. Don't see him paying dearly. Honorable Seymour, this is the crookedest of all. This is the man who, this is a member who runs a gang responsible for mysterious deaths and disappearances, that even Morsi fears him. He cannot even discuss his issue loudly. Look at how he has messed the people's children with the drugs. Look at the buildings. There is a bigger fear of if there were an earthquake, as Morsi says that this is the most seismic area in the Caribbean. What would happen to those buildings? Look at the corruption that is involved when he's approving these plans. He is also not a good role model because despite being in the chamber, he doesn't have a law degree. He has a fake one that is acquired, among other things that we can accuse him about. Seymour is also somebody who is accused of supplying air. Remember, he's also coming up with a cunning plan of siphoning resources from the municipality so that they can pay their lawyers or bribe judges, because they're very sure they're going to be charged in court. So his reasoning where they should get the resources is so questionable. He doesn't come out as a straightforward leader. Also, don't forget that Morsi points out to them how just the other day they were very poor people with TED. But nowadays they're dining in the best of hotels or restaurants that you have around, the kind of houses they are living, the kind of cars they are driving. This is evidence of somebody who is corrupt. Honorable Ted, we have broken drainage system. Is noticeable. Remember, he's the one in charge of the environment and health. Seymour brings it out very clearly that there is broken drainage system. We also understand we don't have medicines in the hospital. This guy also ate a whole hospital. No wonder he looks sick. The guy is also involved before he came into
Excuse me,
power.
sir.
Yes, you're excused.
Faith ameinua mkono, maybe anaweza unmute aulize swali, then you respond and continue.
Okay. Please, Faith, come through.
My question is, the gang for Miamusi ilikuwa gani?
Miamosi's gang.
Yes.
I thought he runs the Red Eagle gang. Or? Faith, are you okay with that?
I was confused. I was confusing it with the one for Honorable Seymour, the one that you've written.
Oh,
It's
for
okay.
Honorable Seymour, his is Black Swan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then Bembe has the Ghetto Boys, eh?
Yes.
And then among the Mosi has the Red Eagle, which has a leader by the name Black Man, eh?
Yes. Now for the
Ah,
black man and the black stone was the confusion, but thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. This Honorable Ted, I was saying, before he became a member of parliament, remember he was involved in piracy, pirated people's music. There is also a complaint that he caused a lot of noise pollution at night. And ironically, people went ahead and made him a member of parliament or a member of this municipality. Justice here, Jaden. Jaden is majorly seen in the judiciary. And we find him when he is making these biased rulings in favor of his mistress, Ivy. And as a good candidate, you need to pick these biased rulings that he makes, ground them in some background. For instance, when he rules in his first ruling that Ivy should be given the contract because she had already committed a lot of resources and she should be given that contract. What we pick from it is, I don't know the name for, at least I know the woman we call her mistress, but for the man, let's just call him the judge. The background to this point needs to come out very clearly that she's been denied that contract. There's been a complaint from the members, honorable members, that it should be a competitive bidding. Why her? Why go and give her that bid, that tender, without any competition? But she goes and seeks advice from Herman, Justice Ian Jaden, and the judge advises her to come to the court where he is sitting and then makes that biased ruling. That is how she wins tender through corruption. Look for more rulings because she finds more hurdles on the way, more revelations keep on coming out, but she still runs. In fact, Miamosi says, strangely, these cases were always landing on Justice Ian Jaden's desk. And then he would rule in favor of his mistress. The man also has shares with the Prime Orchard Limited, is a shareholder there. And we all know the crimes these a farm is committing. It is responsible for the shortage of corns, and it is artificial shortage. Yes, yet this is a judge who knows this is wrong, but he's in support. He's a shareholder. He's aware of all the activities that are taking place in the Prime Orchard Farm. Judge Ian Jaden is made to pay. You can see his lamentations. He's regretting. He is haunted by his past actions. He's saying he's just about to return. He even likens himself to that man in the book, that rich man in the good book, who, after doing all the work, was ready to go and enjoy his share, only for God to call him. So meaning he cannot enjoy this. He cannot enjoy what he's been doing. He's haunted by the rats in the sewer. The fact that they can haunt him means he's been fully participating in the activities of the Prime Orchard Farm. You can also see how he finds himself in a very compromised position, and that is what Mayor Mossy takes advantage of and puts him in a fix. He has to make rulings in favor of Mossy, but he can't rule against the other fellow shareholders because he knows he's already in what we call double jeopardy. The Principal Nareen, also plays a critical role. At first, she appears supportive, but equally distant as far as the good actions or the good acts of Teacher Nicole are concerned. At the end of the day, we see her as an impediment to to the expectations of bringing changes in the society. She becomes a serious obstacle to Teacher Nicole. She's in fact comes out as somebody who insults her towards the end of the text. So she's not a very good role model. She's only mindful of her own role as a teacher, but she's not mindful of the rest of the society. Teacher Nicole, this is, as we said, she is the protagonist in the text. And what we pick from with Teacher Nicole is never give up attitude. Never give in to poor leadership. And you can see there are so many instances where she has stood up for what is good. She faces many obstacles until the Samaritan app sees the light of day. Remember, she's just a mere teacher fighting a very strong leadership of a municipality that is corrupt, that has power at their disposal. They have tried all manners of ways to compromise her, but unsuccessfully. She stood out and lived to her name or to her title as the teacher of integrity. Nicole has already been tested, but it is good you also assess how the questions were tested in 2024. Can you write it? If you can respond to it, then any other question as far as Nicole is concerned should not be a problem. Alvita and Montano, these are young students, the learners. They don't appear majorly, but we see they have a pivotal role that they play in showing we who are students, what can we do besides complaining? What can we do to bring change? With the right support, the right environment, when you have the right teacher like Teacher Nicole who can help with innovation, what changes can you bring in the society? So their role comes in the innovation that they make. And when you're looking at the role of a young teacher, Teacher Nicole is equally young. So they will go in tandem when you're discussing the changes they can bring in the society. Remember, Teacher Nicole is also important when you look at her from integrity point of view. Look at her classes. When Alvita and Montano meet her in her office expressing their fears, look at how Teacher Nicole counters that fear and makes them see the need for good governance. Look at Teacher Nicole when she's teaching them about the Samaritan, the Good Samaritan, the story of the Good Samaritan in class, the spirit of the beasts. She plays a critical role in showing that we young people can as well impart the right values. Teachers can teach the right values and discourage bad governance from that lesson. The rest of Teacher Nicole is seen in different encounters she has with different characters who are villainous, the likes of Mosi, the likes of Bembe, the likes of Principal Narina to the end, the whole category of leaders when they come to her office and try to compromise her. All these are episodes that suggest Teacher Nicole stands firm. As I've said, that question has been tested, but I would also ask you, write it, that you never know what can be asked. If you can capture all those episodes, then you'll be able to see the role these characters play. Before we exit these characters, I would also wish that you pay attention to the role of the citizenry. What role does the citizen play, or the citizens play, as far as good governance and bad governance is concerned? When these bad leaders are in power, have the citizens played a role? When you read the text critically, you notice the writer is critical of the citizens, that there are times they are suffering and they should not be complaining, because when they were putting these leaders into positions of power, they knew they had been bribed with drug money, for instance, from Seymour. They knew Ted was not a good person. He was involved in noise pollution. But the writer insists, yet people voted for them overwhelmingly. So because that could also be a moral lesson. When you vote in a bad leader, you can't expect them to be good people. As the writer put it categorically, that people knew Mosi. They keep on voting. In fact, we are told Mosi vows, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people have voted me into this position. Did they know he's a bad leader? Did they know Ted is a bad leader? Did they know Honorable Seymour is a bad leader? Look for evidence, so that we see the evidence of bad leadership, but you also tie it to there is knowledge, historical knowledge from citizens that he was a bad leader. We put him in power after he gave us money, like Ramdai. They knew his crimes of lands. He used the money got from this and then bribed them, and then they voted him into power. Look at the episodes that suggest that citizens knowingly also do the wrong thing, because the writer is also cautioning us. As much as the bad leadership is there, citizens, when they know something and what they know somebody is a bad leader, if they put him in power, these leaders are not going to change. They're only going to remain and sustain their bad acts. That would be my call as far as the text is concerned. As I said, a lot of times, I'm not saying every time, a lot of times, whoever sets these questions like picking these virtues, these vices, and narrowing them on one individual. So it is the candidate's business to go and identify the episodes that support this vice and the outcome that comes with it, because the outcome is where the moral lesson is. For instance, students, I will leave you with this question that I would like you to look at it at your own time. And the question reads, I don't have it typed here, so I'll just dictate. The Maracas Municipality criminal justice system has failed, resulting in suffering of citizens. Maracas Municipality criminal justice system has failed, resulting in suffering of the citizens, or serious suffering of the citizens. Basing your illustrations on Bembe, write an essay to prove this statement. Basing your illustrations on Bembe, write an essay to prove this statement. Maracas Municipality criminal justice has failed, resulting in serious suffering of citizens. Basing your illustrations on Bembe. Write an essay to prove this statement. So this question requires us to first do a proper interpretation. Remember, when you're responding to an essay question, the first thing you do is pay attention to the keywords. What are the demands of this question? The beauty of KCSE questions, unlike the one I've given you, the KCSE questions are normally detailed, so that in case there is a section you don't understand, the next part tries to break it further, substantiates that section so that there is no way you're not going to understand the demands of the question. The moment you understand it, then respond to it. For instance, the question at hand is restricting us to Bembe. So we need to provide evidence that the criminal justice system, meaning there are crimes there, it has failed. The criminal justice system in the Maracas municipality has failed. And as a result, citizens have suffered. So where has Bembe been involved? There are crimes committed, and the justice system does not go through the whole course, and the citizens suffer as a result. So is there, in short, you're saying, where has Bembe abused his power as a police officer? Are there instances where you see him doing the wrong things and citizens are suffering? This is homework I'm going to give you. I'm only going to give you one episode and then you can pick other episodes for me. Bembe is very busy organizing for violence, helping his friend Mosi to stop the motion of no confidence against him. The honorable members have gone to the municipal chambers to follow the right procedure of removing Mayor Mosi. But Mayor Bembe misuses his power as a police officer. Remember, he's sent there solely, and he brings in his private police. He has his ghetto boys. He's given the Red Eagle gang. There's money set aside, but he plants violence to ensure that there is no motion of no confidence that is going to be discussed. That is interfering with a justice system. So go pick details of how Bembe is involved in stopping a motion of no confidence the wrong way. So when you talk of criminal justice system has failed, let the honorable members do the removal of Mosi. And then, if he has complaint to take, he will take to the judiciary where Justice Jaden is. But Bembe stops it midway. He aborts justice by his actions. When we meet Seymour and Ramdai and Ted, they're saying they could not go through with a motion of no confidence, no discussion. The disruptions were serious, meaning this is interference with the justice system. Bembe has a police force that arrests people and charges them. He's the one who decides, they're the ones that decide whether one is innocent or one is guilty. They are not taken through the full course of the justice system. But in all this, how do citizens suffer? There is a second part of the question that's saying citizens are suffering. So don't forget to link that. For instance, if you go back to my first episode, there is a lot of violence. When you look at the crude weapons that are going to be used, when you hear Seymour in this case is in the part of the innocent citizens, because he's one saying how a stone missed him. Look at the way, what is his name? Ramdai, the way he was running. He claims, is it a Ramdai or Basde? It's a Ramdai. We are told he didn't look like he would stop. The hooligans were very brutal. One of them aimed a rock at my head. I never thought anybody could handle such a huge stone. It missed my head by the thickness of a pig's thistle. All this is evidence of citizens suffering when Bembe chooses to adopt violence to stop a motion of no confidence. So the question may look difficult, but when you narrow down to episodes, you'll notice what is the failure, how are the citizens suffering. Purpose to link the two for every episode so that you can score all the marks. Are we together, class? If anybody has a question, can ask now because I would wish to shift to the next set text. Paul? If none of us has a question, then we can shift to...
Bwana Maingi, let me
Yes.
check the chat box.
Okay.
There is, Dafin has asked, is it wrong to have all outcomes all outcomes the same in all people? E.g., they were arrested by Inspector Tajo.
Yeah, there's no...
All right, just answer that and then I read another one there too.
Yeah, there is no harm if it is dependent on individual character. The outcome at the end of the day, and if I understand her question, in this case, it can purpose to be on the outcome on a leader who has suffered and not the citizens. If it's the leaders that you're talking about, they have suffered, then you may have the same outcome at the end of the day. You can keep on echoing they are arrested at the end of the text. But I would wish there are instances whereby some leaders suffer more than others. Bembe suffers a lot of embarrassment. He's also been summoned. He faces a certain summonses. So does Mosi. So does the good judge or the bad judge is equally in a lamentation mood. So apart from those ones that are just arrested, there are some you need to narrow down to their serious suffering. I believe that question is focused on how the leader suffers. But I'm saying if it isn't suffering, it should be from an episode point of view. Hopefully I've responded to the question.
Yeah. The other question, I hope Dafin has been answered also. It was clear answer. The other question is from Onchonga. Onchonga asks, can the background information be shared in different points? Like, can you write the same background information in different paragraphs? I think that is her question.
I am not very sure that is possible because background is information that makes a certain character do certain things. So whatever makes them do certain actions or commit certain actions will be different triggers. So it can't be that every point has the same background. Could have the same conclusion, but normally it's difficult to have the same background. Again, it is good to be responding these questions in contexts specific. So if you have specific context of a question, then that will be easier to respond. And at this stage, I want to remind our learners that we have been setting for you questions whereby, like a question could have, you are discussing all the 4 characters. It is good that if you can fix that in one essay, but you can also discuss one individual character and you notice they will have different backgrounds for different episodes with different outcomes. If you just pick one character, because when you're discussing many characters, what we do, we make you pick from here, pick there, put them together, and then we say we've already argued a point. Fine. But for neck cases, we insist on episodic reading. There's an episode, there's background to this information, and then from that background, there's the illustrations that we need, and then there's an outcome. The outcome could be there, or it could even come later in a different episode. So learners, I would advise you, ensure you have written one essay for Mosi. Like right now, I've given you one for Bembe. You realize backgrounds will be very different. They will not be the same. They will be differing from one point to the other. And every point will be coming from a different episode or from a different incident. Paul, hopefully I've responded.
Yes, sir. It is well responded to, and I hope Onchonga has gotten it clearly. Thank you. We may proceed. Yeah.
So we go to...
Just a minute, huh?
Okay.
I can see Huawei ameinua mkono.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
In the introduction part, how many lines, how many sentences should one write?
I would wish you reserve that question. After we are done with the next set text, we'll go now to the structure of the essay very quickly, because I'm yet to touch on the structure of the essay.
Okay.
Yes. Just be patient a little bit. So for our next session, I would wish we go to a silent song. And this is question 3A. And in 3A, so far we are remaining with 11 short stories that have not been tested. And since the testing of the short story began, NEC has never revisited a short story. So ordinarily, we will just be teaching those ones that are pending. Reason being, a short story just focuses on one issue. It is the only one that is featured. So the writer comes up with an issue, comes up with a main character, comes up with the context, the plot, and then the story is over. So that you're only focusing on that one issue. Remember, at the end of the day, we are still testing the virtue or a vice. Either there's something being discouraged by the writer from the experiences of the main character or the main characters, or there's something being encouraged and it is rewarded at the end of the day. So what the writer is encouraging will be rewarded. A lot of times you see students will just be echoing that reward. What is being discouraged will be punished at the end of the short story. So in every point of your discussion, you'll still be echoing the consequence of that action. So if you go to our first short story, which is A Man of Awesome Power, the main character here, Taib Al-Mahdi, at the end of the set text, at the end of the short story, he loses his power and he regrets a lot. The writer tells us at the end, the last paragraph, pleading is pointless. Distress is useless. Regret has no effect. An awesome sadness will haunt Taib Al-Mahdi until the day of his death. In fact, by the time he was losing his power, he was going mad. He tried everything that he could recoup his power, but it was failure. So he regretted, he was sad, he was distressed, whatever he did, he pleaded, it didn't work. So the writer is telling us in this short story, Taib was trusted with power. And God could not have chosen any other better than this car, any other person better than Taib. He's a man who has retired. He's a man who's lived his life. The things he listens to is all praise to God, Lord to the all worlds. He is a man who is having adequate pension. He lives in a city, in his own house. And it was a reward as a result of good work, which he served the humanity. We are told all his children are married, so he has no worries. He just lives with his wife. So he's the best person to be given this power. But when he's given, at the end of the day, it is taken away. What is the writer telling us? The moral lesson is, when you're given power, whoever you are, use it for the right reason. Unfortunately, Taib never used his power for the right reasons. So students, I'm sure with our teachers, we have discussed how he abused that power. and that is why it was taken away. Find 4 episodes. In fact, there are 4 episodes in the text where he has abused his heart power. He abused that power to revenge or to avenge against a taxi driver. He used that power to overpunish a man who was in a conflict that he did not even understand. He abused that power to punish a radio announcer. Was he a radio announcer or somebody who was an announcer? And because he didn't like what he was reporting, mark you, this is a messenger. But the punishment meted on him, it's so personal. Taib al-Mahdi also abuses his power to seduce a woman to fall in love with him, despite the fact that he's married. And in fact, the writer makes it very clear this was selfish because he had gone to the zoo with a bigger picture. He had gone there to consolidate the plan he had so that he could bring positive changes in his country. So he had gone all around collecting information from the university to private institution, from government institution. But when he gets to the zoo, he forgets what had taken him there. And he becomes selfish. And I think that is how he loses all his power. So the moral lesson here, the moral lesson is seen in the echoed bit, the echoed last paragraph. So if that is it, then write an essay on how he abuses his power. There is not we don't refuse that he used it for the right reason to some extent, but it's taken away from him. Why? Identify those episodes. Incident in the Park was tested last year. We were focusing on challenges of urbanization, especially people who are ranked lowly economically. We are looking at challenges people face in urban areas. Ninema, the only short story that is focusing on a good virtue, or a virtue in this case, and it's on determination. Ninema is doing so well in her business currently, but it has not come out of luck. It has been planned. So can you identify episodes that have made Ninema become a very successful hawker against her peers? Because she's doing so well. Very soon she appears she's going to build her house. The demand for her herbs suggests that she needs a bigger garden. Why is the demand for her herbs so high? What has she done? So the beauty of short stories, the moment you start reading, you'll find the responses right away. The moment you start reading, look at her commitment. Look at the determination, the time of the day she wakes up very early. But what is pushing her to wake up? She has a goal. First, she's pursued by her poverty. She lives with a landlord that is a bully. She doesn't have enough water to shower in the morning. It's in fact cold. We're made to understand that when she does this is from outside. She only takes shower once, and remember she's big-bodied, on a Saturday. But she has dreams to build her own house. How will she realize this? Wake up early. Go to her own garden. Harvest fresh herbs. Take them to the market, the Indian market. We are made to understand that's how she earns a living. That time of the day, just like you students normally wake up early. When you have a goal, your goal will wake you up early. If you have problems like us who are elderly, mashida zetu, they're the ones that push us, and they push us to rise very early. Again, if you have a goal to succeed, Ninema has shoulders. But this one does not happen without the attention of the people who are around her. They notice Ninema is facing challenges, but she's winning. Ninema, the first thing she has done, she has accepted her lot. She has accepted she's poor, but she's not resigned to it. So she's going to push herself. That is why she's waking up that early. That episode is over. Look at Ninema, and again, against every passage, every paragraph the writer takes us through this short story, there is emphasis on dignity. There is emphasis on respect that Ninema is winning from the people. People respect her. People treat her with the right dignity. Why? because it starts with herself. She's accepted her lot. People are realizing that she's winning and they respect that. When she's going to the market, look at the way she's walking. Look at what the writer tells us as she's moving. There are people who are staring at her because of the way she's swaying her hip sideways. But Nenema does not allow this to happen. She stops, faces these people, these men, with her black piercing eyes, and they look away in embarrassment. This is already a response to respect. The fact they can change directions and move away from these. The next episode, we get to the market. The moment we arrive at the market, Ninema is focused on setting her stall. She has no time to waste. That is what the writer tells us. She removes her chumpols, and the interest is setting up that stall. Later in the day, it pays off because you're told people are attracted by the appearance of her stall, by the look of her stall. First, the smell. Remember, the fresh herbs she picked in the morning. And then the appearance. She took a lot of time to arrange the herbs in an appetizing manner. Other ladies are talking among us themselves. As much as they try to talk to her, and she doesn't talk back because she has no time to waste. The respect is made, we are made to understand that the ladies don't mind her. They know her. Focus. Even sipping a cup of, she can't. It is until it is done, it is set up. And that is where you're told, the writer even, until she's done with setting up the store, that is when she sips. And it proceeds. I want to pick one more episode. We wait for the first customer. Look at the first customer. Ninema is in business. She's not to be seen by, she's not there to be admired by men. Other ladies can notice this man called Mr. Shindran is in love with her. But for her, she knows there can never be a love relationship. This man comes from a rich class, or caste. For her, she comes from the downtrodden or the lowest caste. And there can never be a relationship. This one she knows in her mind. And she says it's like a relationship between a white man and a black woman. I remember this is South Africa during the apartheid system. So she knows there can never be a relationship. And for that reason, she's not going to entertain this man. As much as he's infatuated with her, she's not. In fact, we're told she treats her like she treats her other customers. And the episodes proceed like that. So the fact that she wins, she knows. The fact that she succeeds at the end of the day, it is a meticulous plan that comes with it. Even when she's mean with the right people. Remember, she gifts the last customer who comes at the end of the day. But it comes to Mrs. Singh. This is not a poor person. This is somebody who is wasting time. She's hugged so that she can waste as much time in the market. She's a rich person with many workers at her house. So when Ninema doesn't budge, it is intentional. It is cunning of her. And she's very polite with her because she knows you're not in need. You're not even genuine. You're only here for your own things. So business is business. That's why even the other ladies can notice. You don't compromise. Tell us your secret. So as much as they would wish to be envious of her, they admire her. You can notice a lot of admiration. As much as Mr. Chindran is not getting the price he desires, he's still buying more and more because of the way he's treated with the respect, among other episodes, up to the man who misbehaves. The next short story is A Silent Song, the title story. I normally ask students, what do you think is the moral lesson in this? What is the message that the writer is trying to pass to us? From the title of the short story, A Silent Song, remember this is a song that Mbane sings when he's alone at night. It's a song he sings with beautiful thoughts, with good thoughts in it. But one asks, what is the song about? When you read through, you realize the song, he is looking forward to the end of his journey. He suffered so much, and he's looking forward to when his soul will be away from his body. And according to him, his body is dirty. It is sick. So he's not very comfortable with his body. But he looks forward to the day when he will not be suffering. So what has pushed Mbane to look forward to his death? That means that he has experienced immense challenges that have made him give up. He feels that life is unfair. He feels people are unfair. He feels even his maker is unfair. And that is when now, as a student, go back to his ailments. What disabilities does he have? He's blind. He's lame. He suffers from paralysis attacks. All these are too much in one person. And that is why when you read this short story, the writer is focusing on the various problems Mbane has experienced. There are quite a number. So as you read again, identify the episodes that capture different challenges. The moment you start reading, you'll notice he's in physical pain. He's attacked by that paralysis attack. Leaves him sweating and in pain. And he expects this will come again and again because he says he knows it has just recoiled. It will come back again. So as he's crawling on the floor, sweating, that is already an evidence of challenge that comes with that disability that has to do with the paralysis. When you read through again, the next page, the next paragraph, you'll notice the man complains of his eternal blindness. All he's been seeing in his life is darkness. And for that reason, he has not appreciated what light brings. So he has certain limitations. He cannot appreciate the sunset. He doesn't know when people are talking of a wide street, what it is that they say. He doesn't relate with these things. The fact that he cannot relate with them, it tells us, as a blind person, there are certain limitations he experiences in life. And when you read through, you realize he's bitter. He cannot even predict how his life has been. How life will be. According to him, he says that he's living in the gloom of his eternal night. Whether it is, he doesn't know what time of the day it is, what beauty is. All these things are flat and almost imperceptible to him. So he's speaking these limitations. Even when he goes to the streets, people talk of the weather today is bright. He cannot relate. He can't understand what those pedestrians are saying. Even when they talk of the sky is blue, he doesn't know color blue. Again, this is a limitation that comes from the fact that he's a blind person. When you read through, you also realize he suffers from shelter. This one is physical, not because this is us to be blamed who are able-bodied. He doesn't have shelter to reside at when he's in the streets. We're told during the day, it is scorching hot. At night, it is very cold. And you're told during the day, they even have flies on his lips that he cannot remove. Again, it is very hot and unfriendly. At night, it's very cold. He surrenders to the back of the street, unsheltered. It's also the base of the thieves. And he does this because he's vulnerable to sleep and he needs to sleep. Again, right now, he's in a house where his brother has brought him in. He's so suspicious of where he's been placed. He's alone in the room. So even when he's saved from the streets, he's not provided a good shelter. We are told he's on a floor that is flea-ridden. So he feels the fact that he does not have a good place to live in the street, and even when he's rescued, he's not put in a good place. That is directly to be blamed on a brother of his who is able-bodied and is not treating him the right way. As you read further, Mbane has had experiences, especially in urban area, where there are clubs and music. There are brothels. And his mind, as much as it is innocent, he crosses his mind or whatever those people do there. And he's tempted to ask his brother how old he is. And the brother tells him he's 14 years. And he he feels the brother has lied to him just because he does not have count of time. Because he remembers when his brother was his age, he was already married. And according to him, he imagines, he feels he cannot marry. He says he had been told 14. For all he knew, Mbane could be much older. He could not tell. Did it matter? But his brother must have been married around his own age. And yet he himself would never be able to reach out his hand in fulfillment of his life in the same way. Feel that limitation. He would wish to be involved in a marriage. But because of his disability, this is a dream he would never fulfill. The writer says he could only yearn impotently. Impotently. He has no potential to win this. Impotently beyond the reach of darkness and lameness. So his blindness, his lameness makes it only remain a dream. So socially, he's equally limited. Because of his disability, he has this desire to get married, but he can't. There are very many other episodes of challenges, including when he's discriminated openly by the Christians who insult him. These Christians were in a Christmas procession. Remember the symbolism of Christmas. It's a season to give. But Mbane challenges those people who are singing the Christmas carol, whether they had given him more than the mean people had given him yesterday. So whatever these people have given him, despite being a season of giving, is the same as people who are mean yesterday gave him. So there is no difference. And in fact, these people make it worse because they insult him. They talk ill of him. He says, but instead of bringing the knowledge of Christ to him, much as he wished that he should be left alone, some good Christian men and women would once again call him able-bodied, only crippled more every day by idleness of leisurely begging. And that is what even pushes him to wonder, how come even this, the city authority never picked him as that when they were collecting litter in the streets. So he feels unwanted and discriminated. And when you listen to him further, all these challenges, he's even looking forward to his death. So this is a story that calls us to our conscience. When we see these people in the streets, do we care to imagine what goes through their mind? Do they have dreams? Do they go through problems? That is what a silent song is asking us. It's pricking our conscience by highlighting these challenges that Mbane goes through. The next short story is Ivory Bangos. And this story is, when you look at it, there are many other faces you can find. But the story, you can pick from the moral lesson. The moral lesson or the message the writer tries to pass to us is what will make us pick the message. There are two main characters, in fact, three main characters: the seer, the old man, and his wife. The old man notices a speck of blood on the liver of his goat. He is slaughtered. Goes to a seer, consults, and he's given an interpretation. Remember, this is traditional African community or society where a seer is somebody of authority. He's a tribal seer, somebody people depended on to give interpretations of future. So they can interpret your future, and it should be taken with authority or should be treated with authority. So this man goes there and is interpreted that somebody is going to die, and he knows it is his wife because the spirit say it's somebody who's been unmolested, a wife who's been unmolested, lived a happy life. So he knows it is his wife. But the seer also tells them, we can avert the death. So God beat your wife. then return her to her parents. Unfortunately, the man does not do that, and for sure the woman dies. Would the death have been averted? Yes, had the words of the seer been followed. So the death is catastrophic because of the animals involved, because of the life this woman has lived. So as a good student, you should identify how this couple failed to heed to the advice or deliberately chose not to observe or listen to the warnings given. You'll see the woman being the man at first, the moment the man is told to go and be the wife, he protests. He says there has to be another way. So that protest is already in defiance because he's defying the interpretation of the spirit. And the seer just repeats the words without any negotiation. Says, I could offer whatever number of goats, but he's told no. When he goes to the home, the wife appears to be in the know of where the husband has been. But instead of first listening to the news, she is very kind to the husband. Cooks very nice meal for the husband, does everything for the husband that evening when you can read that episode. Later, when he shares the news with with the wife dismisses the seer, saying the seer has always wanted her, had even threatened to put a charm on her. So the wife does not take the seer's word seriously. The wife also comes up with a plan to fool the spirits. The husband is even asleep when she's coming up with this ingenious plan. But the plan is go to the market, buy foodstuff, come cook for my husband, then go back to my brother because the parents are not there, pretend I've been beaten. My husband will come with the people, this will there to be done. The spirits would have been fooled. Unfortunately, they were not, because the words of the seer were not executed. The wife also defies the scouts. The scouts are sending a very serious warning. It is repeated over and over. Beware, 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 beware. There are those elephants that are roaming. They are free. They are wounded. But the woman, when she goes to the house, she has even, after cooking, she has time to spare. Instead of remembering there was a warning, she goes to the garden, starts weeding on a piece of land she had weeded 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks earlier. And that is where she's found. The animals that kill her are elephants. Remember, she's been very beautiful, but beautified by bangles. These bangles were carved out of elephant tusks. The husband is bragging how he's been killing elephants and carving these bangles out of them. The chief is saying that the wife, the advisor, has a very good wife, very beautiful wife, but she's beautiful courtesy of dead wild animals. The man is even proudly saying how he's been using poisoned arrows to kill the elephants. So at the end of the day, this is nature coming back to revenge. But the same nature had given this woman, through the tribal seer, an opportunity to live. So whereas she lived by the beauty of the elephants, the way the elephants kill her, it is very clear that the animals were revenging on behalf of their fellow animals. But the woman could have avoided her death if they had listened to the voice of authority. Next short story is, so as a student for the ivory bangles, pick these incidents of defiance, failing to heed to the advice or wise advice from a person in authority. I've seen students argue that the chief advised the old man to marry a second wife. That one is a bit controversial because we don't see the man even We don't see the man regretting he wished he had another wife. So that one cannot be said he was advised and now he's lonely. We can't say he's lonely. The writer focuses on the woman. The old man, we part ways with the old man the moment he shares the words of the seer. But the moment that man gets to the house, the wife takes charge. The wife is manipulative. The wife is dismissive. The wife is ignorant. The wife is cunning. There are so many ways she has involved herself in that has contributed to her death. Sins of the fathers. This should be an easy short story for all learners sitting the short story because the title has everything. The sins. Rondo is a victim of the sins committed by his own father. His own father has messed him big time. So a student is expected, remember when you pick that title, sins. Sins is a moral thing, whether you're Muslim or Christian. Sin is a question that is a subject that is only interpreted from a moral point of view. So a sin is an immorality. So we are talking of immoralities that, in particular, Ruafa Rondo has committed on his own son, Rondo. Rondo is an adult at this time, a married man, but when you meet him, he's in serious pain. He's in deep pain. And this deep pain has made him reflect the kind of environment he's been brought up, the kind of scars the father has inflicted in him, permanent scars that have refused to go away. But this one is the last nail on the coffin, and this is what is making him even have a gun and contemplate killing his father because some light has come to his eyes. So as a good student, go back to the sins the father has created because we're given these ones in flashback. He remembers this, he remembers this, he remembers this, he remembers. There are so many episodes where his father has messed up with his life. So when you look for these sins, identify the experience, identify the scar. What scar was left from that experience that he has failed to move on or he has failed to heed? For instance, when he was 4 years old, he remembers he had a birthday and his uncle comes and gives him a guitar. And he enjoys the experience of the guitar. But when we are made to understand because the father found him strumming tunelessly, meaning he was enjoying. But look at the experience the father subjects him to after he finds him playing that guitar. The way he takes it from him, the way he breaks it, the way he throws the whole contraption in the fire, the words that are involved there, the screams about Mick Jagger's and John Wick's. And mark you, these are people who are alive even now. These are musicians. They're pop musicians. They're pop musicians or rock musicians from England. But according to him, musicians are people who don't know how to make a living out of music. According to him, this is a rolling stone that gathers no moss. They have no life. They have no direction. They just board train that head to nowhere. So there's not going to be any musician in his house. No son of Ruafa is going to become Mick Jagger or that John Mix in his house. That is already career determining statement. But the effect it has is on the fact that he's 4 years old. He doesn't know who those people are, but that experience left him seriously scared. He peed on himself. He has not forgotten. But he says the skies that the burning of the flames of that burning guitar left or else took or gutted away all the courage in him. Maybe that's why today The wife tells him, I could do better in your pants. Because the man can never be courageous at all. That is a 4-year-old. He has an experience of 4-year-old that is affecting him up to date. As you read through, remember what happened to him when he was 8 years. That experience, that mango experience, how the father thrashed him. And the end of it all, he learned the meaning of the word powerlessness. What haunts him more? Remember the haunts, the mother moving from one man to the next, begging them not to beat. And the fact that the father never even bothered to know what had happened. And then the mother tells him that your father doesn't know how to love you. He loves you, but he doesn't know how to express it. He may never understand. And he even says he's never shared this one, even with Selena. There are so many other scenes. He brought a girlfriend whom he wanted to marry, but from a different tribe. Look at the behavior of the father. They had a wedding. Look at the behavior of the father. Look at the pain. He remembers how the mother was in tears. He remembers the father-in-law who funded much of this wedding as a man. That is very discomforting or disquieting. As if that is not enough. Another episode, the father demands an heir in the name of a son, but he's not able to. According to Ruafa, getting a daughter, it's ignominious. Ignominious means a disgrace, something embarrassing. He gets a second born, again another daughter. And what does the father do? He writes him off. He writes his mouth. He stops existing. What pains him more is the fact that you are asking for a son, an heir to inherit what you have, and he even tries to imagine what is it that the father was asking an heir for. But as if that is enough, in fact, what makes me like Rondo, the fact that the father dismissed the firstborn as a girl. He went quickly back there, and 1 year later, there was another child. The difference is only one is 5, the other one is 6. But it was even worse, and he still got written off. Which parent does that? There are many other sins that is committed to his son, including the current one where he has killed his children, and he is not apologetic. His language is too cold and cruel and callous, telling him that you'll be glad it happened now and not later. You'll thank me. And the man is in pain. All that is happening in his mind is replaying how the children might have died, in what state of mind they could have been. He has not slept for the last 1 week. This is a man in pain. Sins of the fathers. There are many sins. The truly married woman is an interesting story because the focus is on appearances, how people put on faces. Do they try to cover something behind their faces? Because what we see here are people trying to pretend to be something they are not, or doing something that mislead others because initially it was not genuine. From the moment the story begins, you'll notice there are watchmen there who are pretending to have worked overnight. As the story progresses, you realize you have a very good wife called Ayo, very dutiful, has born Ajay, 3 kids and pregnant with a third one. So she is very dutiful wife. But when you read up to the end of the story, after the actual wedding, the white wedding, the lady changes. So 12 good years of putting on her face. Can you identify how she's been a good wife that even the husband was praising her? But again, the change, the shock on Ajay when he wakes up and does not find his cup of tea, his regular cup of tea that morning. The shock vis-a-vis the response from Ayo suggests that Ayo was just waiting for this moment. She's never been happy as playing her role, because now she can even command her husband to go and prepare the cup of tea for himself. The shock, the behavior, Then the sudden change after the wedding, even the husband imagining the wife could be unwell, she could be tired, could be in, and then the words from the wife. As you read through, there's an instance where Ajay insists on how he should not be guided on how to raise his child. They have a disagreement with the wife. But the wife stays firm and even quotes that there is a woman they have been interacting with because she's been going for women's group meetings. There's a country woman there called Bimbola, who is a nurse who's practiced in UK and America. And when the husband hears that, again, his point of bringing up or beating Oju changes. At work, he says he thought about it. Then he changed his mind just because somebody else has said so. But by himself, he had said, no one is going to tell me how to bring up my child. Did he actually mean it? Why did he change later? As you read through, we go to Ajay's workplace. We realize he had once written to a group that has talked at his work, WGCA, and the group is misled to imagine they have finally gotten a missionary, and they even stop. Only to realize the guy was not serious. He had written to them with different interests. The man has even forgotten he had written to them. He can't even remember who they were because he was not a genuine missionary. He just wanted Bibles he could sell or give away and some magazines, or some magazines he wanted for himself. But these people are misled to imagine this guy is interested in our work and he would want to become a missionary. So we are seeing appearances can be misleading from the letter he had written. Again, we go to his house. He first lies to these people that the road is not motorable. They can't use a car. But he's buying time to send a clerk to his house. And when people go to his house, the chief clerk is shocked by the change in the house. We are all witnesses of those changes that have been changed in that house, up to the ring that his wife Ayo is wearing. That even the chief clerk is surprised, but he chooses to keep quiet. But these people leave that homestead believing that this is one happy, God-loving African family because of the pictures that they take. Appearances, yet we knew there were pictures of lightly clothed women on the wall. There were glasses of wine. But now they're changed otherwise. Even the children they're changed. Ayo could even speak in English. Among others that are misleading. Up to the end, even when you go for these dowry negotiations, you will notice they're not genuine. There's a lot of pretense. They pretend to make it look like Ayo is being picked for the first time. Yet she's been married for 12 years. Not forgetting Omo, whom they have been having a chat with, who has been lending her ring. But when she hears the friend is genuinely getting married, look at her. See her change in emotions. See her unhappiness. Why? Appearances can be misleading. These generally, human beings are spread or projected as generally hypocritical. The next short story is Ghosts. The context of this short story is post-independent Africa. How is the post-independent Africa? After African countries got independence, how is the governance? How are the countries being run? What challenges could they be experiencing? And this short story is borrowed from the fact that the writer, Chimamanda, her father was a university lecturer. She's brought up in a university environment or compound. Those that are in boarding school know of staff quarters. So even in the university, the lecturers have their quarters. That's where the writer has grown up in. Again, in Nigeria, because the story is Nigerian, there is the war that happened in Nigeria, the Biafran War, where majorly this community called the Igbo in Nigeria wanted to secede from the main Nigeria. They had even come up with their own military. In the text, they refer to as the militia. They had their own military officers. They had armed them, they had empowered them, and they were ready to secede or create a boundary between the Biafra and the bigger Nigeria. Just like we saw in Ethiopia, we have Eritrea that came out of Ethiopia. We have South Sudan that came out of Sudan. That is what they wanted to do. But the Nigerian government could hear none of this. They sent their military and they took back their land. That is the genesis of this short story. And when you read the main character, Professor James Noe, who is a former university lecturer, now retired, she has a daughter. He has a daughter, Zik, whom we meet before the war begins. As they flee their country, Zik is killed on the way. They go to America for 3 years. They leave Nigeria in 1967, come back in 1970 briefly. They could not put up with the environment. They went back to America. And there they gave birth to another child now, the current daughter they have in Kiru. 1976, they come back to their country. After they return, that is when now we see the daughter going to university, up to the university in Nigeria. Then they see an advert of a medical doctor needed in the state where she was born. They apply, she goes there, she gets a job by virtue of the fact that she was born in America and she's an American citizen and gets a job there and now resides there. 3 years ago, our friend, main character, Professor James Noe, lost his wife, Aebere, 2 fake drugs, a scandal of fake drugs. But now, 3 weeks later after the burial, we are made to understand she visited her. He reminds of that experience, and according to him, he has been meeting her, so he's ghost. But when he meeting today, he's at the university ground, having retired, and this is 3 years later, he's come to ask for his pension. And the first problem we notice that citizens in Africa countries are facing is they are not being paid their pension money in time after they retire. That is how we see Professor Noe with other former university non-teaching staff members have come to inquire. And the answer is the same. Money has not been paid, so they can't get their salary. But you feel the pain in them because they claim the money, the reason why they've not been paid is because there is corruption. The Minister for Education is accused of having stolen the money. They also allege the Vice Chancellor has also gotten the money and put it in high interest accounts, personal accounts where he's generating money. So they feel this money is artificially not being paid because leaders don't take them seriously and they're abusing these resources. And their pain is seen in the curses. They curse the Vice Chancellor, they curse their children, evidence of pain. So when these monies are not paid, you notice citizens suffer. So there is the pension problem and there is the suffering. As a result, there is the suffering problem. As you read further, you notice there is evidence of general poverty. African countries are still citizens are still experiencing poverty many years post-independence. Those men that we see there, they cannot afford to buy themselves bananas. Look at their skin. It is white, like it is Harmattan season. We are told the university students are not even paying the cobbler his money after mending the shoes, the money in time. We are told there are money lending problems. People are not able to pay their loans. So there is general poverty. As you read through, you also realize war. African countries are experiencing war. And this war has devastating consequences. And when you read, students identify these consequences from loss of life. And when life is lost, shows the effect it has on the individual. When Professor Noe says that he lost Zeke, look at the traumatic experience it has on him. The response when Noe asks where Zeke is, he responds in Igbo and he gives a reason. He says English maybe will not give the message strongly as it would. He is happy that Noe does not push this subject any further. According to him, it's like he's understood there are no many ways. And you realize the writer is keen to tell us when they were walking away, they're running away or they're fleeing from the war space. Zeke was there. Zeke had left behind her doll, a treasure doll. But how she dies, the writer does not share because of the pain involved. When you look at Noe, not Noe, but Ikena Ekoro, he says he's never been back to his family in Olu because the whole of Olu was bombed. So painful. Can't even visit that place again. When they lose Professor Okibo, look at the man they lose. The writer takes time to give us the details. Our star, our genius, whose poetry moved us all, even those who are not in the arts. He was a colossus. He was not just a simple person that is lost. So the value of the person lost is critical. War also destroys property. Look at the personalized stuff the narrator picks as far as Professor Noe is concerned. They are personal things that matter so much. When they came back and found the house in shell, the roof brown. How about those things, the mathematical annals, the gown, everything he mentions, it is personalized, and how it has been destroyed. You feel the loss. Among others, as you read further, you'll notice we have mismanagement at the university. The new crop of leaders are mismanaging the university. Students are not getting quality education. Universities are not the right one. The leadership is the wrong one, contrasted with the previous one that was there. Observe that. Go to drugs, the fake drugs that took Ebere. Look at how distraught the husband is left. Look at how shocked the medical doctor is, because the prescriptions are not working yet. These are the right drugs. But people somewhere are shamelessly bringing in these fake drugs from India and China. Look at that guy making confessions that his drugs don't kill. But on the other hand, they don't heal. Families have left suffering. Somebody is even now believing in ghosts. Somebody who is even educated. So among other African problems. So if you look at that short story across, in between there's a sub-theme of war. And when you look at from the title Ghosts, there are some students who confuse that Ebere died in the war. Ebere did not die in the war. Ebere dies way later because of drugs issues. But you can also look at that war and the effects it has on its survivors. Is war traumatizing? Yes. Are there traumatized characters? Yes. Pick them. If you look at the story across, then you can pick how citizens suffer because, post-independent Africa, when there is poor governance and political instability. War covers the political instability. Bad governance covers corruption in the drugs industry and the university and the pension element. Neighborhood Watch. This is a story set in urban area, just like what was tested last year. But the focus here is on the street families. And the one picked here is the Neighborhood Watch that has 5 members. But They are going through challenges. Fortunately, they're not dying. They're able to overcome these challenges. They're not giving up. So this story is about resilience, how to survive in the street. How do these families make it in the street? There's no food, but they get food. There is no shelter, but they have secured somewhere. They don't access drugs, but they live on. There is insecurity, yes, but they still move on. They have no water to drink nor take shower, so the hygiene is wanting, but they still have ways of accessing and living with other people. How? They have had past experiences where they have picked lessons. The estates they don't visit anymore. What lessons do they pick? Nowadays, there are lessons, there are areas they visit. What are the benefits? So it is survival among the street families. Towards the end, December is a character experiencing mental illness. Because you have read this short story, you must have picked that it's a genetic issue. Most of our family members have had an experience of mental illness. The oldest member, being Ezekiel, has had his own brother Joseph suffer this mental illness. Ezekiel's son, this is none other than Cyrus Shikongo, also experienced the same mental illness. And currently we have December, who has also broken loose from the same illness. So this short story, the writer is trying to take us through a number of issues. One, the community from which December comes from is very superstitious. They don't take mental illness as a disease. To them, they attribute its effects to forces beyond the explanation. Sometimes it is witchcraft, so somebody has been bewitched. Sometimes there are natural causes that they cannot connect. So the writer is also telling us that these people, the community, because of being superstitious, may not diagnose and subject or prescribe the right the right prescription for these mental illness cases. And there are a number of episodes to support this poor diagnosis and belief in superstition and its effects. Two, we also notice December has received a lot of love from her brother, September. September has been there for her, showing that such a victim, all they need is love. Identify episodes where September has been there for the sister. Right from when we find him at the beginning at the KFC, buying chips for the sister. Two, going to see her at the mental hospital and being harassed by the nurse. Two, bringing her gifts. Two, even withholding information about the death of the grandfather, among others. Also, look at how these victims of mental illness suffer. Do they have self-control? There are times they lose their sanity. Physically, they are affected. Not once have you been told this moment when September is meeting the sister is unaware. She's very thin and skeletal. And he remembers how gaunt she was one time when the father took her to a medicine man. She's even hurt her lips. December has ever hurt her brother once when they were young. The story is not very clear because you're told the agreed version, the most agreed version, is the one that you're given. But the grandfather diagnosed December exhibited traces of mental illness. That is why, from a superstitious angle, The grandfather prescribed or asked her to stop taking chicken. That is superstition. That is why even the narrator today, this September, does not understand why she does not take chicken. The beauty of it is, the grandfather goes with that information, so he dies with the traditional forms of thinking. And September will not stop anyone else from eating chicken, because this was just denying her an opportunity to eat something she should be eating. Again, when you look at her, she loses her sanity and her dignity when the mental illness attacks her. From those cat fights, to walking in the street naked, to speaking to herself, collecting lit papers, all this is evidence of somebody who's lost sanity. That is what mental illness does to an individual. As if that is not enough, her dream is also cut short. She wanted to enroll for a teacher's training college or in a teacher's training college, but this dream is never going to pass because of this illness. Also look at how other family members have suffered as a result, from the mother to the grandfather to September himself. So there are a number of overlying themes or overlapping themes in this story, December. Boy, this should be an easy story now that you have made the reference to war in Ghosts. Boy, we're only looking for how the society has suffered as a result of existence of this Mirisha reign that is overseen by none other than Matuakei. How have the citizens suffered in his hands? That's all you'll find. From psychological torture to living in fear, to children being taken away from their families, to all the way to loss of life, and how that loss of life of Boi affects his family. So there are many effects or evils of war that come because of the reign of Matuakei's power. The last short story is Checkmate. I'm seeing time is not on my side. Checkmate. Here we are looking at, we've seen the background of this short story, Checkmate. We see characters that are so lavish, that are so rich, but they've earned all their wealth and money fraudulently. So these are fraudsters. These are corrupt characters that have earned their money. They live large. From the car the Sukiya is driving, to the amount of money she's banking, to the type of phone she has, to the kind of clothes she has, to the house she lives, even to her level of wealth. We are told she's among the 1% in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But this question is telling us you can run, but you cannot hide. Their greed and their corrupt ways now have hit a dead end. Or very soon, they'll be found out. So in this short story, from the moment we see Sukiya, we see a character that is not free. We see a character that is fearful because of the life she's led. She's being asked of a check she has, and she does not know she has such a check. This causes her to panic. She starts looking around the bank hall, even counting the number of people, looking at the people behind her, having flutters in her stomach, to even speaking in her local accent. Remember, she's brought up in a rural area, but now because she's in an urban area, she lives like somebody who's she's twanging English all her life, but you'll see her panicking. Why is she panicking? She has dirty money. That should be a full episode. She even thinking that the cashier there is not making sense. But she's the one who, the cashier is so correct. She can't understand him because she has dirty money. This woman, we also learn, since she started earning a lot of money, she does not deal with bank managers. Despite the privilege of being among the richest people in the country, she can't deal with the bank manager. background, show us how she started earning a lot of money, and the advice that the checkmate, that is Randall, gave her, why she should avoid these people. This is an inconvenience, suggesting she's fearful of being found out. She in fact gives the reasons. This lady also has a local bank account where she does her savings. Again, she cannot exploit that comfort because the money she has is fraudulently earned. So she can't go to the regular bank because people will ask what she does and how she makes her money. That is another inconvenience. Randall has also created another inconvenience for her. When money is in foreign checks, in particular the US dollar check, it can't be cashed in. It has to be in check. It can't be cashed in the local banks. She has to undergo the inconvenience of writing checks. Then these checks have to be taken all the way to the Cayman Islands. And the reasoning being, Randall has watched a movie where people steal money by wiring it from people's accounts. So she can't deal with he can't deal with wiring money. So it has to be in checks. And that is why Sukia does not believe the money in checks is actual money. She only trusts the money she can see on her computer. These others are papers. But the inconvenience of taking all this money to Cayman Island is enough to suggest that they are not comfortable because it is in US checks. As you read further, you also realize in her house, there's a room that is...
Sorry, sir, allow me to interject and ask the students to stay put. I can see some have left, but just to give, I'm asking the students to just allow us another 10 minutes so that you can finish on the content of that story and delve into the structure of the essay. So I'm asking the students at least to stay put, just exercise a little more patience. Then we may finish at 10:15, so that now we are able to discuss the structure of the essay. And then for question 1, I will direct on what we are going to do. I'll direct Mr. Motiso, will allow us to direct them. But for now, you may finish that, sir, and talk about the structure of the essay. I hope the students will understand that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. So towards this short story is showing us that you can be the richest, but you're not comfortable. So look for the episodes where Sukia is uncomfortable. Towards the end, you also realize that the boss, Randall, has also been forging his own signature because he's realized, or he's looked at the books and noticed the company is going to collapse and they'll be found out. So he's been trying to fake his own signature. That is a discomfort. Trying to cover himself. Unfortunately, he's not going to escape from this because we are told the government, as much as they don't have the capability to investigate, the collapse of this company means people are going to lose their policies they've saved with the company. These are votes. Politicians will do everything to secure the votes. So the company will be investigated by either the people from America or the British QCs to come and investigate. So they have no way out. They'll be found out. So this short story is telling us that you can run, but you cannot hide. Sorry that we've consumed a lot of time, but all I'm emphasizing are the episodes in every short story. Now, in the structure of an essay, these are the areas our teachers have been training us, and this is how you expect to be scoring marks. The first paragraph, outrightly, should be introduction. The first paragraph. So if the first paragraph discusses a point, that means you forfeit the 2 marks for introduction. Someone asked how long it should be. Between 2 and 3 lines, maximum 4 lines. That should be enough introduction. Mark you, all that is needed is an interpretation to the question. A lot of times there is the situation and the outcome. Capture both sides and you're good to go. The rest of the body, which is the next, especially for question 2. 4 points that are well elaborated. If you have 5, you're going to be limited by space, or they will be very shallow. Because there is a lot to say as far as the Samaritan is concerned, so discuss 4 well-developed points, identify the points that interpret the question, provide a topic sentence, provide the illustrating sentences, ensure both sides are captured, conclude your paragraph. Then do the same for the next 3 points so that you have 4 points. For the short story, because there are so many points, when you're discussing, I've picked so many episodes. Try have at least 5 or 6. Many students scored 20 in this question, 18, 17, 20. These are common marks. And you realize a student with 20 maybe even has 6 points. The first 2 have 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3. The other 4 have everything. The episodes are normally short, so don't limit yourself by just presenting 4 points. Have 5 or 6 on the minimum. When you have 4, you are limiting yourself. But for the Samaritan, when you have 5 or 6, you're disadvantaging yourself. Mark you, your work should not exceed 450 words. We interpret this by saying have 3 pages. The next answering space is double space. They are normally 66 lines. 22 plus 22 plus 22. When you do the schoolwork, the A4 book, again, you have that 3. So when you have done 2 pages, you're good to go. If you do that math, for instance, for question 2, every paragraph can comfortably take 15 lines, 15 lines. 15 times 4, that is 60. Then you have the 3 sentences, 3 lines for conclusion, or even 2, and then 4 lines or 3 lines for introduction. You have comfortably made use of that space. The last paragraph in your work should always be a conclusion, and it should not be attached to the last point. It should be an independent paragraph introduced by in conclusion. Just sum up. You can restate your main points, you'll not miss. Some students repeat the question and they don't score because there is no creativity witnessed there. Echo the question, but try give your opinion. If there is a virtue, say how it is rewarded. If there is a vice, just say how it is being punished, or encourage people not to practice such a vice, but ensure you don't repeat the words in the question to ensure you get all marks available. Then once you have enough marks in the body, wait for the examiner to distribute marks for language. The more marks you have in the content, the more you have in the language. The less marks you have, the less you have in language, and the less you have in conclusion. Bwana Paul, I think that is a much I would say for today.
All right.
Learners?
All right. I can say that. Anybody with a
Yes.
question, please unmute and ask. Anybody with a question, just unmute and ask. If you have a question, please unmute and ask. Somebody had asked. Sorry to interrupt.
Mhm.
I was requesting, since time is not on your side, can we get some notes on Parliament of Owls, please? That is Noor Ibrahim. So I will check what I can do. Noor, we will see what we can do on that. Any other question? If you have a question, please unmute and ask. If you have a question, please unmute and ask. I can see any person with a question. Now, somebody is asking, so you can write more than 4 paragraphs in a silent song.
Yeah, that is well advised.
All right, that's okay. Somebody here and is saying, please, could you please show the slide on with God sees the truth?
Tell them that has already been tested.
All right, you have heard that answer. This was yeah, the question, the story has already been tested. Like Mwalimu has said, we have already tested 3 stories. Talking money, God sees the truth, but waits. Hiyo ingine ni gani Mwalimu?
Incident in the park.
incident in the park. Therefore,
Yes.
we do not expect a repeat of the same. Therefore, it's not advisable to consume a lot of your time on those stories. Any other question? I think the questions are done. This is my direction through Mr. Mutiso. We have tackled question 2 and 3. We have not tackled question 1. So, Mr. Mutiso, perhaps you would consider getting us some additional time. Maybe you can liaise with your students and see how we can get time so that we can discuss question 1 of paper 3 and clear any other pending gray areas in the question. Although I am quite impressed because Mr. Maingi has clearly shown us what exactly we are supposed to write. And once you get the content, now we have ended with the structure, you are good to go. So, Mr. Mutiso, the time was not enough for us. You will consider liaising with the students and giving us an additional 20 minutes maybe, or 30 minutes of their time. Maybe you could schedule it later so that we can say something about question 1. I will lead through that, Bwana Mutiso. I hope that is fine. And having said that, Mr. Mutiso, I think it's okay. You may take over and conclude the lesson.
Thank you so much, Bwana Maingi and Mr. Paul, and thank you for the lesson, which has been very good. Because we believe in quality and not quantity, because that was well done for question 2 and question 3. So we'll do a poll and see the most convenient day that we can schedule. We tackle on the remaining areas. So thank you so much. I think I'll check that and get back to you, Bwana Paul. Then at this point, I can see we have 44 students remaining. I just need a student to pray for us so that we can conclude, because time is far much spent. Someone to pray for us so that we can conclude.
Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for helping us complete this class. Thank you for the knowledge and understanding we have gained. Help us remember what we have learned and use it wisely in our studies and daily life. Give us strength, discipline, and success in all we do. Bless our teachers, bless our colleagues. I pray this trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Good night, guys.